Okay, so yesterday Gedalia asked me a question. How can you tell your wife that she offended you? She's gonna get even more upset. So the answer is very simple. If you let her tell you when she's upset, then you can also tell her when you're upset. So one of the arts of Avas Yisrael is someone should be so comfortable with you that they should be able to tell you when they're upset. If you're a very big balgaiva, if you're stuck, very big shot, then no one's gonna want to tell you they're upset at you because you're gonna get upset. So when you're very close with people, then that's a good way. So we're moving on to today's Rambam talks about relationships with other Jews. Every Jew has to be your best friend. You have to care about their name. In today's day and age, it's called cancel culture. So what people like doing, like bashing people. Everyone gang up against somebody. Sometimes they deserve it, sometimes they don't. And just talk all day about how bad they are. Now, in other words, what does that mean? That means you enjoying somebody losing their job, somebody losing their fame, losing their name for no reason. Or for a reason, doesn't make a difference. A Jew, especially a Jew, but every human being, you have to want them to be respected. You have to want them to have a good name. So therefore, if someone is a Mariagla B'Chaver, somebody which just says Rechilus, it means if someone, you're going around talking about somebody for no good reason. So if you go to someone and you start talking about his enemy to him, or you talk randomly, nothing important about him, usually it turns out negative. So if you're going to somebody and you say, wow, I have a friend, he's an amazing guy. That's fine. But if you're wasting your time talking about people, usually it turns out negative to the person, and therefore, in general, never say anything pointless. If you're not saying something positive about somebody, be quiet. Even if it's true. That's called rechilus. And it's a very dangerous thing, very dangerous personality. It says that there was a certain time, King Shaul killed all the Kohanim. 80 big, greatest Kohanim were killed by King Shaul because his advisor was yapping away for no reason. There's another level of Moshe Shemra, somebody which makes up lies about his friend in order to get his name down. That's another level down in Leilam Haba, right? It says there's three people which there's someone that speaks lashon hara, speaks bad about a fellow Jew. He has no place in the world to come. Obviously, he can do tshuva, but until then. It says the lashon hara kills three people. It kills the person that says it, the person that hears it, and the person that you're talking about. So watch out and don't say any lashon hara. Now there are things called avak lashon hara, which means it's not lashon hara. It's not like you're not doing the avera, but it is a little bit of it. But just if you go to somebody's enemies, your friend is an amazing guy. Chances are he's going to go on a rant against them. So you're causing anger about this person, right? Or you say, I'm not going to tell you, but this person, I'm not going to say what he did. That you didn't say anything wrong, but chances are my personal experience, when somebody tells me anything wrong about anybody, you can't get it out of your head. From then on, you sort of disrespect them a little bit. If somebody says this person told me a lie, even if it's a minor thing, automatically that ruins your respect for him. So if you love every Jew and you respect every Jew, then you will really care about his name and you won't want to say anything bad about them. You are not allowed to live in a neighborhood that has a bad mouth.
What?
A bad mouth. Somebody that's a typical guy on Instagram all day or whatever, cursing out the world or whatever people do, whatever way that...
You're not allowed to live there?
You're not allowed to live in his shchuna. You're not allowed to live in his...
So what are you going to do?
Of course, it said, of course you're not allowed to sit next to them and for sure not hear what they're saying. And the only reason why our great-great-great-great-grandparents in the desert had to stay there for 40 years was because they listened to lashon hara. The avera of the meraglim is that they said lashon hara. The Rebbe explained, what does lashon hara mean? Lashon hara doesn't always mean that you say, okay, I have something bad to say. Lashon hara means when you're speaking with no purpose. You're speaking carelessly. And that is what it says. The Hashem was upset because right before the meraglim came, Miriam sat in the tent for 7 days outside. Why did she sit outside? Because she spoke about Moshe. Nothing bad. She just was asking questions.
What did she say?
She was asking questions. Why did Moshe separate from his wife, Tzipora? The point is, when you speak without, of course, Miriam was a big tzaddikus. There's no question about it. But they should have learned from Miriam, they should have learned from Miriam, you have to watch your mouth. When you speak, you have to speak with a purpose, with a goal. Now we move on. Not only you have to respect every Jew, if, let's say, God forbid, a Jew did something bad to you personally, it says even in the Gemara, he cuts off your hand, God forbid. You are not allowed to hold a grudge, and for sure, not allowed to revenge. There's a story of King David. He's one of the examples of someone that had the ability to forgive. It was a big rebellion in the time of King David. Most of the Jews rebelled against him. There was one big rabbi that when King David was running away, he was throwing rocks at King David and cursing him out. When he came back, he said, this rebellion was a work of God, I forgive him. What does this mean? This means that a Jew, you should look at the depth of the Jew, the soul of the Jew. The soul of the Jew is good. The soul of the good is pure. And if the Jew did something wrong to you, it's really Hashem. I mean, of course, he made the wrong choice. We're not going to argue if somebody cut your arm off, but why did it happen? Hashem. Hashem let it happen. If Hashem wouldn't want it to happen, it wouldn't happen. Hashem inspired it to happen. Of course, he will get punished from Hashem. But in your mind, what should you do? The opposite. You should be kind to him, nice to him. Try to pull him in and arouse him to realize what he's doing wrong. The problem is most people that are doing wrong things. It's not because it's because they don't realize that it's wrong. It doesn't hit them that talking bad about somebody or hitting somebody is bad. So when you're screaming at them and you fight them back, you're just getting more of anger inside of them. The trick is to reverse the whole thing, to pull them in with love, to show them what kindness really is. The rabbi one time was bashing, I don't say we're bashing, but very upset or frustrated with somebody that his job was, he went from community to community between Jews a couple years ago. What he did was, he went to the podium and cursed everybody out there. You do this and you do that, and that was like, it's right before Rosh Hashanah. You're not allowed to speak against Jews. But the Rebbe says, I'm not going to judge him because he had no loving mother. He doesn't know what love is. Which means, in other words, people that are mean, it's because they never felt love. They never felt what it means, care, when you care about somebody. When you show back, not hate, but love, then it's the first step to changing them. So don't go according to your instinct, punch back. Realize what's the source of the problem. Pull them in. And that's why we move on to the next mitzvah. Lo sitar. Not only you can't punish, not only you can't do revenge, you can't even remember what he did. You can't hold a grudge. It says, the Rambam says an example. He says, if you ask somebody, can I borrow your ox? And then he comes the next day and he says no. Comes the next day and says, can I borrow your donkey? You say, no, you didn't give me your ox. That's called revenge. What does it mean, grudge? This is amazing. This is very powerful. If your friend doesn't want to lend you something, he doesn't want to do his hammer. He comes the next day and says, can I use your machine or something, whatever the Rambam says. You can't tell him, I'll give it to you, not like you did to me. Even to tell him, I'm being more nice than you, is an avera. When somebody does something wrong, you have to erase it out of your head. Like the Alter Rebbe says, thinking bad about another Jew should be in your eyes like thinking about Avodah Zarah. Thinking that a rock is, God forbid, something important, is just like, should be in your mind just as bad as thinking negatively about a Jew. So that's the message of today's Rambam. The message of today's Rambam is that every single Jew in your eyes should be a diamond. Like the famous story of the Rebbe, that someone asked the Rebbe, how could you stand so many hours giving out dollars? The Rebbe says he's counting diamonds. A Jew in your eyes has to be like a diamond. If a Jew does something wrong, if a Jew could do the worst things he could do, he could go meet Ahmadinejad. I one time was davening in a show, and this guy that met Ahmadinejad was sitting right in front of me. It's the first time I felt hate in my heart. But I was thinking, I was a little davening. I'm like, is this hate? I'm like, am I thinking? Exactly. So I was thinking, is this hate in my heart? Is this the right way to feel? And I realized maybe not. Maybe not. Because every Jew, if you take off the layers, if you take off all this trauma he had in childhood, all the baggage he has, his coverings, his big shtreimel and his big coat, you take it off, you see, there's a soul. And how do you reveal the soul? Not by revenge, not by grudge, not by bad mouthing, by love. By showing them love, by connecting with them, by showing them what they're missing. That's how you inspire them. And back to you, Gedalia. When you let your wife tell you, I'm upset at you, you don't say, hey, don't say. Then she will never be upset at you because you'll know what makes her upset. If you don't let her tell you, you'll never know. Anyways, okay, you guys, see you guys tomorrow.
Thank you very much.
In Chicago, I was two friends. One was